Hey, everybody, welcome back. I'm Adam Hart.
And I'm Carl Swantoon.
And welcome to Clear Impact Coaching.
Yeah,
Now,
today
what are we here to talk about, Carl?
Oh, thank you. Today we're going to talk about, it's really kind of a paradox, how to stop our bad habits without stopping our bad habits.
What does that mean?
How do we do that, right? Let's first of all figure out what we're talking about here. When we say bad habits, what do we mean, Adam?
Essentially, these are the things that we crave that we know are not good for us, but we have a hard time stopping ourselves from doing.
Yeah, even if they make us really happy, we kind of know in the back of our heads, I shouldn't be doing that. What are some of the things? Like, give us an example or two.
Well, the big one for me, especially growing up and having a long history of addiction to it, sugar is top of that list for me. Still is quite a bit, but sugar, social media, TV, Netflix, alcohol this time of year, alcohol for sure. What else we got on that list?
Well, why don't we get into the stuff Carl had the most challenge with? Thanks for hitting me on the list. Cigarettes for sure.
This is the time to pass it over to Carl.
Right? Well, cigarettes for sure, right? Real tough one for a lot of people. It was a really tough one for me to quit. Drugs, just smoking weed and what other drug of choice you might have.
Hey, it's legal here.
Huh?
It's legal here.
Yeah, no, I'm talking needles and stuff. Stuff that a lot of people don't realize is a habit that's a real dopamine, adrenaline producer is online shopping. Yeah, right.
Like, grocery store for me.
Yeah, well, Amazon is crack for some people. Yeah. Gambling, porn, and what's that? What's the other one? It's arguments and fighting. Some people are just addicted to debating. You see that on social media a lot, right? Just have to get in a fight today or I don't feel complete. Horrible stuff. So why do we crave them? Why do we crave something that's bad for us?
Yeah, good question, right? It's this historical primitive drive for energy. We don't even realize it, but we're just driven into this daily reactive state because we love the energy. The brain feeds off of the adrenaline hit that we get from that fight or flight stress response.
Why are we in fight or flight stress? Like, why are we that? Why?
Well, there's a lot of cultural norms that throw us into that state, but we're definitely lacking the ability to adapt to our current environment in the way that we're living in fear, we're living in anxiety, we're living in anxiousness, agitation.
Right. So we're stressed out.
We're addicted to stress.
Yeah. So there's so many things in our lives now that are stressing us out. And funny thing is, half of these habits just add more stress. Sugar just adds more stress to our body, our physiology, right? And so it's a cycle of just more and more and more and more. But yeah, when don't you notice that out there in population land that we're talking to, when you're feeling stressed, you just reach for that habit, right? And so that's, like Adam says, it's the brain wants its shot of what? Dopamine, adrenaline, something to feed it so it thinks to survive, right? But it just wants the energy to deal with all this stress that's around.
Yeah, it's a hard one to break free from. The minute we're born, we're kind of stuck into a cycle where we're being sabotaged by our brain's love of the surge of energy from adrenaline and the voltage of energy it gets from dopamine. And we have a hard time separating.
Yeah, so here's another question. What about the other side of it? Can we crave things that are good for us?
Yeah, of course. We have to train ourselves.
Okay. Well, hey, before we move on further, if you're watching this on YouTube, you like what we're talking about, please subscribe to our channel. Give us a like, give us a comment below. Love to hear from you and hear your perspective on these things always. So we can crave things that are good for us. And so obviously natural ways to get dopamine and serotonin to make ourselves feel good. What are some of those things?
Yeah, well, let's look at dopamine as one, because the definition being a reward neurotransmitter, it helps us feel that sense of reward and sense of motivation, and we tend to overdo it without realizing it, and obviously in a lot of the negative ways. So how can we do that in a positive way? Well, obviously, whenever you complete a task, as an example, and doing some self-care activities, they're actually nourishing, not overdoing them, but whether that's yoga, whether it's meditation, whether it's some sort of fitness activity for you, healthy eating has an opportunity to provide really healthy dopamine, and celebration, gratitude of things.
So I think that's sort of the bottom of the funnel for all those things, isn't it? Is notice when you do something, like you do the dishes. Yes, right on. Did the dishes complete. It's that little celebration of joy, even though it may feel a little weird, but that little celebration tells your subconscious, go ahead, release a little dopamine. I'm happy right now, right? Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, as
awesome.
opposed to being agitated in those moments where I used to
Right.
live in agitation in a lot of those moments. And that just feeds the adrenaline, which then gets you addicted to the dopamine pieces that aren't so healthy for you.
And then the other side, the serotonin, which of course, so much of it is created in our gut. So back to the healthy eating, let's just make sure we're feeding our gut with a great variety of natural foods, with exposure to different people in different environments to fill our gut with happiness and our bugs in our gut with happiness. But what are some of the things that help stabilize our mood from a serotonin perspective?
Yeah, I think breath work, and we talk a lot about that in our coaching program. It's a huge one. Then you think about the physical activity pieces, whether that's running, swimming, cycling, are all good ones. Just even walking in nature, being connected to the natural connection to earth, grounding, sun exposure. I mean, these are beautiful ways to help stabilize your mood.
Yeah, I think a great example of that is notice that when you walk outside after you've been inside all day, maybe you've been in your office at work, just the fresh air and the sunlight, you just immediately feel a little bit different, a little bit better. And what you're doing is you're getting a shot of serotonin into your brain. We don't realize that, right?
Well, and you see it with your kids, like having 2 young kids right now. You have 2 older kids, but the minute we're outside, it's like the caged animals are free, and they're just more just in a natural state of being that you can feel that they're just in a much happier place.
So great. So I think we've solved it, right? So why don't we just swap out all those bad habits for those good habits?
Not so easy.
Why not? Why is it so hard?
Well, we have an environment that we have not been able to adapt to that leaves us in a state where we are constantly being revved up, whether we see it or not. And we're living these patterned, self-sabotaging thoughts over and over again that keep us in a reactive state, which zaps our ability to live in our abundance and live in our ultimate vitality now in this moment.
Yeah, and it stops us from making a choice, right? When we're revved up, as we talk a lot about this in some other trainings, we're going to be doing a nervous system training soon. But when we're revved up, this thing shuts down, this prefrontal cortex. So our ability to make choice, really reasoned, thoughtful choice, is really hampered, right?
Yeah. And you see it in your own environment, whether it's your own household, how it impacts how you communicate with your loved ones, your kids, your partner. You see it in your communities. You see it in the world. There's a lack of real nourishing, loving communication right now because there's a dominant vibration of frustration, anxiety, fear. And so we need to flip the switch on that.
Okay, so here's the answer. What we started with is, how do we stop our bad habits without stopping our bad habits? Number one, we're not going to focus on stopping anything, but you got to have the right tools in the right order. And within our coaching program, in our Clear Impact coaching program, the Unleash Your Energy program, we really focus on 2 foundational practices, right? And what are they, Adam?
The first one has to be something that allows you to reset your stress response in the moments of life. This is not about meditation. We love meditation. We love all the different self-care methodologies out there. They're all beautiful. The one thing that we really need to understand and we focus on is it's about mastering the moments of life where you're being triggered, where your brain is trying to throw you into a fight or flight stress response to feed off of the adrenaline, to get you to feed it dopamine. You need to reset that. And to reset it, we use a breath practice called heart flow. Heart flow is a 33-second neuroscience proven reset for your nervous system so that it creates coherence up the vagus nerve, turns the frontal lobe of the brain back on, your executive functions there, and you're thinking more positive, more clear, more motivated, and just in line with more of how you do want to feel and how you do want to be.
So we do have a training on our channel, so subscribe to the channel. Maybe it shows up there, maybe it's there. I don't know where it's showing up on this.
It's popping here somewhere. Yeah, we're figuring that out.
Yeah, check out that training because it's really powerful, super easy to learn, super easy to practice. And the other 2 things that are few things that we'll focus on around this is vision activation. Adam talked very briefly a moment ago about negative self-talk, all those negative thoughts. And because of all the stress around us, and because we're sitting in the stress place with all the anxiety and regret and shame and depression and all these things, we can be ruminating on all this negative stuff. And without getting deeply into it, quantum physics, proven science shows us that whatever energy we're putting out, we're attracting back. And so we have a really powerful, specific process around vision activation, which helps us shift that energy to be attracting more positive outcome, attracting how we want to feel in the moment instead of revved up and regretful and depressed and stressed and shameful and all of those horrible feelings that many of us are feeling all the time now.
Yeah.
Two more things, Adam. What are two more things if we're going to talk to people about how to do this? Again, we handle all this in our coaching program, but what are other two critical components?
The main one is the practice around these things.
Right.
It's really understanding that there's a way to do this that doesn't have to be just so time consuming and so, oh my God, I got to get on another diet. I got to do another fitness program and I have to do another this and another that. That's not what this is. But when you understand the key tools in the right order and recognize that they don't take a lot of time, it's going to be challenging. But the key here is the practice, being committed to practicing. You know, the few things that we mentioned, the heart flow and the vision activation, they take about 10 minutes. That's it, 10 minutes a day to start to really train your nervous system to live in a really positive vibration. But it takes practice, and it takes one other thing. What's the other thing, Carl?
Well, practice is difficult because the monkey mind is going to get really, really loud, and it's going to tell you this is stupid. You don't have the time. You don't have the willpower. You're a loser. You're fat. You're ugly. You're scared. Whatever it is. Monkey mind loves to be negative. It's support. It's a workout partner. It is, you know, it's that partner that it's close to you. It's a group. It's a coach. It's some methodology of support that's going to hold your hand, celebrate wins with you, and hold you gently accountable to following through. Because practicing calming the nervous system, practicing vision activation, a few short weeks, and it becomes second nature. And those habits that you had, they just slip away. Those bad habits. Hey, you might still choose the sugar. You might still choose a drink. Our tenets, one of the tenets of our program is you don't have to give anything up.
No.
You know, I still have a drink now and again. I still, I had some cookies last night, some Christmas baking last night. I still watch my Netflix and I'm still on my phone. Not nearly as much because I'm now the master of my own domain. I'm making my own choices. Make sense?
That's great, Carl. It's great. Yeah, it's all about cravings. You know, you start to crave the good when you do this work. You just don't want to sabotage yourself. Self-sabotage, for a lot of us, it's diminishing our ability to experience life to the fullest, impacts yourself in a big way, your brain fog, your daily fatigue. You know how it is. You wake up in the morning and you just wish you had that vitality back.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult, but it requires the right tools in the right order. It requires practice, and it requires support from those who really get it and are vibrating the same energy with you.
So check out the other video on heart flow. It's the best place to start. Practice it for a few days. Notice what shows up, and then tell us what shows up for you. Comment on the video. If you want to reach out, send us a message, and we'll connect, and we'll tell you all about the program. Have a great day, everybody. Love you all.
Subscribe over there.